At some point during your B1 exam, you're going to be asked to make a prediction about the indefinite future. Now, I don't want you to freak out about this. Don't get worried, because it doesn't have to be a life-changing prediction. It just has to be something nice and simple. Also, you're not going to be tested on what your prediction is, what you predict. You're going to be tested on how you make your prediction. The examiner's not really worried about what you predict. It's how you make your prediction and your ability to predict something in the future. Now, this is because predictions are something that you hear every day in normal English speech, and you need to be able to do this to show that you are progressing with your level of English. Now, there are many examples of predictions, and today we're going to have a look at some of them, along with 4 different ways that you can make predictions in your B1 exam. If there's anything that I've said in this introduction that you don't quite understand, any words that you're not really familiar with, then stay to the end, because I'm going to go and run through the vocabulary of this introduction, explaining what some of the words mean and some of the phrases. Hi there, I'm Ed Anguish from Speak English with Ed, where we help new ESOL speakers learn English to pass the SELT examinations. Today we're going to be looking at one of the B1 requirements, and that is making predictions about the indefinite future. So if you're ready, let's jump straight in. The only way to learn is to talk. Predictions are a B1 requirement, and a prediction is something that you think will happen in the future. Basically, that's all it is. You can predict anything. You can predict the weather. You can predict the news. You can predict the lottery numbers, the winning lottery numbers. You can predict the outcome of sport, who's going to win a race, who's going to win a football match. You can predict any of these. All these are predictions. You can predict anything that you don't know the outcome of. If you don't know that it's going to happen, you can predict it. If you know that it's going to happen, then that's not a prediction. It's you giving information about something that you know is going to happen. That's not a prediction. Now, we've already said that there are 4 different ways of predicting the future, but there are many reasons why people predict the future. There are many reasons why people want to know what is being predicted for the future. And for this reason, lots of people, they predict for a living. They have a job. Their profession is making predictions. Can you think of anybody that makes a prediction for a living professionally? I don't mean their name. I don't mean an actual person that you know, but I mean the job. Can you think of any jobs that are professional predictions? Well, I can think of one. There's weather forecasters. They predict for a start. They predict the future. They predict what the weather is going to be like tomorrow. There's news reporters. News reporters predict the outcome of a long-running news story that they're covering. And politicians, politicians predict the outcome of the future for the country and for its people. Politicians also rely on the predictions of other people, so they rely on predictions and they both make predictions as well. Now, there are some people who depend on predictions for their living. Farmers, for instance, farmers depend on knowing what the weather's going to do so that they can know whether to sow their crops, plant their crops, turn the animals out and it not be a cold night for them, when to harvest their crop. Farmers need to know about the weather. So do fishermen. Fishermen go out in the boat in the sea. They need to know if there's going to be any storms about so they can avoid going in really, really bad, dangerous weather. So predictions are important to a lot of people. The first way that we're going to look at making a prediction is using the word will. Will is a modal verb. It's a helping verb, and it helps to set the tense into a future tense. The weather forecaster might say there will be a lot of cloud tomorrow. Or he could say the fog will clear by lunchtime. Now, if your examiner was to say to you, what do you think the weather will be like tomorrow? He's asking you to make a prediction. How will you answer? What will you say? You can say, I think it'll be sunny tomorrow. But don't stop there. Add a because. And you do this because it's adding strength to your prediction. You're making your prediction sound more believable. And that way the people will think, you're good prediction. Also, it's another thing that you're being tested for in the exam, giving reasons. So you're ticking two boxes with one statement here. I think it will be sunny because, and that's giving you another tick on your box. So it will is setting the future tense. I think is making a prediction. I think it will is setting your prediction into the future, into an indefinite time in the future. And that is what your examiner's listening for. Now also we said there, it'll. Now it'll is a contraction of two words. It's it, will, brought together, shortened into it'll. And it's something you hear a lot in English. Now if you want to know more about contracting words, check out the video at the top of the screen, and you can see a video that we made a little bit earlier about contracting words. Now there we predicted the weather. We knew we were talking about the weather because the examiner asked you what you think about the weather. So when your answer you said it will, you used the pronoun. You didn't need to say the weather. We used the pronoun because we knew what we're talking about. And you can talk about any subject in this way because all you have to do is replace the subject, change the subject, right? So if you're using the pronoun it, but you're talking about a person, you can say he will, or she will. If you're talking about a specific person and you haven't mentioned who that person is, you can mention their name. So you can say, I think Mary will. You're mentioning her name. This way you're telling the person, I think Mary will, and you're making your prediction. You can have technology. I think technology will change at such an amazing rate. Technology is an abstract noun, so your noun doesn't have to be a pure object or a thing. It can be an abstract noun as well. The weather, that's an abstract noun. You can't touch the weather. You can feel the snow, you can feel the cold, but you cannot touch the weather. You can say, my younger brother. I think my younger brother will pass his exams with flying colours because he's such a good pianist. So you can predict anything just by changing the subject. You need I think plus the subject plus will. And that's your prediction. Now I just want to say at this point, if you subscribe to the SELT English Tips letter, you will get 2 deliveries into your inbox every month. One on the first Saturday, one on the third Saturday. That way we don't overload your inbox. Along with the vocabulary tip and the grammar tip, you will get links to the downloadable worksheets that we produce for some of the videos, and you will get links to the last video that we produced, so that if you didn't get a chance to watch it, you don't miss out on the video. Now, the next way to make a prediction is by using going to. Going to can be used directly to replace will. You can use it. Wherever you use will, you can just use is going to instead. So you can use things like I think he is going to. I think she is going to. I think Mary is going to. I think the car is going to need filling up before we get to our destination. I think technology is going to change at such an amazing pace, or I think my brother will do really well with his exams. You can just directly change it, but you need to put is. If you're using going to, you need to put the verb to be in there. Now, the verb to be is subject dependent, so you must put the right verb to be with the right subject. What do I mean? If the verb to be is a single object, person or thing, then you need a single verb to be. If it's a plural, you need if it's a plural object, you need a plural verb to be. What do I mean? Okay, well, if you say he, you need as a single subject, then you need a single verb, which is. He is, she is, it is. But if you're using plural subject, they, for instance, you use are. They are, we are, you are. So make sure that you get the right verb with the right subject, because subjects are verb specific. So that's two ways. The third way that we're going to talk about is using likely to. Now, you would use the first two, will and going to, when you're pretty sure that your prediction is nearly right. Okay, so if you, like the weatherman, for instance, they're pretty sure a lot of the time, because they're making their predictions based on evidence. They're calculated, they've got figures and numbers and data, and they're making a calculated prediction, so they're pretty sure. And you can use that for going to and for will. If you're not quite so sure, say that's 90% sure. If you're only 70% sure or 60% sure, you can use likely to. So if somebody says to you, when's your next door neighbour going to change his car? And you don't really know. I mean, that's up to him. There's lots of things that can affect when he will change his car. So you can say, oh, I don't know. I think he's likely to change it this year. Maybe he changes it every 2 years, and this could be the year that you think he might change it. So you can say, well, he's likely to change it this year. Don't forget to give your little because at the end. You could say, because he changes it every 2 years as a rule. Using likely is usually based on inspiration, not on data, not on information. It's based on inspiration, not information. Now, we don't always make positive predictions. Some of the predictions that we predict are negative, right? So you can make a negative prediction by putting not in front of likely. So you can say, he's not likely to change his car this year because of the economic crisis, whatever. Or you can say, I don't think he's likely to change his car this year. So I don't think, or he's not likely. Whichever way, you can say the same, but don't get the two together. Don't say, I don't think he's not likely, because that's a double negative, and we don't do double negatives like that. You put just one negative in there. So you either say, I don't think he's likely, or he's not likely. Make sure you just use the one there. So the last way that we use is number 4, is may, might or could. Now these you use when you don't have a faintest idea of what is. It's a pure guess. It's what we call a stab in the dark. You're just purely guessing. So you just don't know. That's the end of the story. You don't know. You can say, I think it might rain tomorrow, but you don't have a reason why you think it might rain. You just think it might rain for no reason at all. But you're making a prediction. This is what he wants to hear. Or you could say, there could be a lot of traffic on the road tomorrow. We better set off early. There could be a lot of traffic on the road tomorrow. You're making a prediction. You don't know why, you just think it. And then maybe your friend turns around and says to you, there may not be as much as you think. Here we're putting a negative in, not be as much as you think. So you're getting the negatives and the positives here. It's just a guess. If you use maybe, could be, might be, you're pure guessing. That's all you need. So these are all ways that you can make predictions about the indefinite future. Use will and going to when you're reasonably sure that your prediction is accurate. Use likely to when you're sort of like 50-60% sure, and use maybe, might be, or could be when you're just making a pure guess and you don't know, for no reason for guessing, but you're just making a guess. Oh, it could be busy tomorrow. Now, if you need more information about anything that we've talked about, don't forget to ask a question. Ask a question in the comments below this video, and I will get back to you and answer your questions as soon as possible. Now, I did say that I would run through some of the vocabulary that you might not be familiar with, or some of the phrases. So let's have a look and see what the vocabulary was, what we said at the beginning. At some point during your B1 exam, your examiner will expect you to make a prediction. It's pretty straightforward. Expect is that he's listening for, he's wanting to hear you, you should be saying it, and he knows it should be coming, so he's expecting it. Expect you to make a prediction. It's a requirement of the exam. A requirement means it's something that you must do. You have to do. If you don't do it, you won't pass your exam. It is necessary. It's needed. It's a requirement. But don't worry, it's not going to be anything life-changing. That means it's nothing important. It can be something quite trivial, nothing important. It's going to be more of a guess, like a stab in the dark, really. Now, a stab in the dark is another way of saying in this context, it's a total guess. It's a stab in the dark. You don't know what you're saying. You don't know what you're aiming at. You just, whatever you say, you've just said it. And you're not going to be tested. Oh, another thing, yes, I'll say this again. You're not going to be tested on what you predict. You are going to be tested on the way that you predict. To test that you can make a prediction. You're not going to be tested on what it is. It's not what you say, it's how you say it. You're going to be tested on your ability to make a prediction. So predictions are something you hear all the time. There are many examples that we can use to illustrate this. Now, illustrate in here, illustrate is to show, right? We show it through examples. Today we'll look at a few of them, and there are 4 different ways that we can make predictions. That's straightforward. If there's anything that I've said in this introduction that you don't understand, then stay on to the end and I will go through it. That means I will start all the way through what I'm doing now, starting at the beginning and going through to explain what's what. We will go through it and explain some of the vocabulary that I've used. Vocabulary is the words and meanings of words and phrases that we're talking about. Now, hello and a big welcome to Speak English with Ed, where we help new ESOL speakers learn English to pass the SELT examinations. That's straightforward. And today we're looking at the B1 requirement, predicting the indefinite future. Now, the indefinite means not specified. It's not a definite point in time. It can be any time in the future. That's all indefinite means. Definite means a specific time. So you can say, if you were predicting about next year, you could say 2023 will be very cold, or very hot, or very wet, or whatever your prediction is. You're being specific about the year. So indefinite means not specific. So that's gone through there, and that's, I hope you've understood a little bit better about the vocabulary. If there's anything you're not sure about there, just rewatch that bit and make notes of them in your book. So, having said that, I hope that you've enjoyed everything. And as I said, if there's anything you're not sure about, just ask the questions in the comments below this video. Thank you very much for watching. I hope that you've enjoyed this video and that you've got some benefit from it. If you have, make sure that you've subscribed and that you've rung the bell so that YouTube will let you know when we release the next video. In the meantime, this is Ed Anguish saying thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Stay safe, take care, and look after yourself. Bye.